Welcome. This is David Bowles' Human Meme. Today's topic: progressive recession. We like to think we are progressive as a species, always forward-moving, always thinking about the next big thing, forever creating the future through procreation and procrastination and post-cremation. One of my favorite contemplations is this: if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are content, you are living in the now. Well, progressive recession finds us all in the same place, stuck between the bee and the sealing wax. We tend not to live in the present, and that is all by choice. We are stuck, obsessed really, with a past that cannot be changed, and a future that cannot be transfixed. All progress is backward failing. There is no escape from the past in the future. We are doomed to repeat all the mistakes we should have certainly learned from, but never did. And so, my human being friend, here we are, alone and alive in the 21st century, wondering what happened and how we got here. And all those wonderful things we won in the past have dissolved in the now, and shall only be a curiosity in the future. We can see this clearly evidenced in the Americans with Disabilities Act. Everyone is protected by the law until they're not. Sure, you can have an interpreter paid for you, but you'll have to wait a year. There's no such thing as time is of the essence when it comes to aiding the disabled. And if you eventually get what you need in a year or so, or 2 or 3, then you've been served. The letter of the law has been performed. Compliance has been achieved. What about women's rights? We've come so far to stop so lonely. Reproductive rights are under assault after many wins in the courts. The social mesh is fraying, with swords pointed toward each security knot. And racism is on fire. Hatred's burning brighter now than it has in the last 50 years. And what about an adjunct teaching union? Those intellectuals who pride themselves on being inclusive and progressive. But when it comes time to making an accommodation for a disabled instructor they represent, well, then they'll do maybe the absolute minimum they can to get by, just so they can say they did all they could, in order to preserve the facade of their contemptibility in the causality of essence. And then there's Donald Trump, who pretends to clean out the swamp while purposefully making it fuller and murkier, and who appoints people to protect the union who then do exactly the opposite of their dominion. And Hillary is no better. She pretends to be a forward-pressing woman whose husband pulled her back again and again and again with embarrassing misdeeds and a shaming in public office. And some say if Hillary had divorced Bill way back then, she'd be president now, because she would have become her own woman and not managed by the goats and the ghosts and the peccadilloes of a discombobulated man. People can't condone moral contempt within the double standard that does not get played against a fair advantage. And now, as we age, we become more conservative and less progressive, mostly because we're afraid of cracking and failing. And that trepidation makes us more careful and less productive. We are vulnerable not by choice, but by timeline and through ultimatum. We also tend not to invent as we get older or take risks because there is not as much time left to overcome the failures or the tests, all in the name of the next big thing. So here we are, stuck between the past and what might have been, and all riled up by what is never contentment or relaxation. Because we know there is something better we left behind, and something greater yet to arrive. And in that panicked wanderlust, we try to make the rent and pay our food and make sure the lights stay on, while a whole other game is being played around us and beyond us and above our heads. Oh, sure, we know the game is stacked against us, and that the right to vote is being eaten away mouthful by careful swallow. And we are aware that all of our rights are becoming a boring meme of repetition that lives in danger of getting old and passé. And so we pretend that education still matters, and we hope to know, but never learn, that we were all born equal. But then there's that unsettling feeling that we won't ever be allowed to win. It's just right there within us, as the politicians and the naysayers promise us, with a handshake and a smile, that everything will get better. And then, in the next moment, behind our back, they take everything away with the other hand in a budget smash, while still grinning at us and telling us life is getting better and that we have nothing to fear. We yearn for the truth, because facts are changed in situ and in circumstance. And what we once believed now bleeds. What we once fought to know now fades. And we are left with our depressive memories and our anxious fear of the never-ending grave. When all we ever wanted out of this life was to get what was promised to us, what was vowed to be on time, and what was to be given with an exuberant embrace. Just like we served those the same way who arrived before us. We want our turn to thrive. We want our place before the pulpit. And so we shimmer and fade with promises unkept, as mutiny foils the bounty of life. Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.